Greetings, folks. Iolair here. Today I'm very pleased to introduce Ultima One from the North America server, who is sailing for us a ship that, well, I think kind of divides the community pretty heavily. Players either seem to love this ship or they hate it. This is the premium tier 6 German battleship or battlecruiser, the Prinz Eitel Friedrich, often referred to as the PEF or PEF, at least here on the North America server. And Ultima has entered into a tier 6 domination match here on Strait with one carrier and just a couple of destroyers per team. Ultima is using a mostly full tank concealment build. He elects to not take the fire prevention skill, instead picking up an extra level 2 and a couple of extra level 1 skills. He also has the secondary guns modification 1 upgrade in slot 3 to improve the range and accuracy of his secondaries. The Prinz Eitel Friedrich does have a pretty robust secondary complement, although tier 6 battleships, their secondaries can't be made super accurate. But among ships with secondary builds, this is among the best at this tier. So we are going to see just how much damage a Prinz Eitel Friedrich, a ship that a lot of players really don't like very much, we're going to see how much damage it can put out in about 11 minutes. And I'll try not to spoil things too much. Ultima did post the results of this match to one of the World of Warships Facebook groups earlier this week, and I saw that and offered to host the replay, which he graciously accepted my offer on. And so thank you for giving me the chance to host this. So what can we talk about with regard to the Prinz Eitel Friedrich? So in real life, she was laid down. She was designed and laid down. Her build was canceled in I think 1918 during World War One, and she was never completed. There are pictures of her partially completed hull in various places on Wikipedia and also on the World of Warships wiki, so you can go check this out. So this was a real ship. Her modeling, however, in game is based on a theoretical or at least a paper design 1941 refit with a very good AA. In fact, the Prinz Eitel Friedrich has arguably the best AA of tier 6 battleships in the game, probably only challenged by the, well, nice Citadel hit on the Piotr Veliki there, probably only potentially matched by the Queen Elizabeth, at least with regard to tier 6 battleships. So she has a very strong secondary complement. That's in large part due to her 128 millimeter dual purpose guns, or 105 millimeter dual purpose guns that sit on her deck that also serve as part of her secondary complement. She carries 8 350 millimeter guns. So these are not quite, these are technically or effectively 14-inch guns. They are not as powerful, obviously, as the 380 millimeter guns on the Bayern. As far as armor is concerned, she does not carry a turtleback, so this is atypical of German battleships. Her citadel sits pretty low in the water, so she can be citadeled. But she's not quite as tanky as the Bayern, but she's still pretty robust for a battleship. She is pretty well armored and can hold her own, and we'll see some examples of her in some closer combat here in a few minutes. So this is certainly, in my opinion, a very capable boat, but she tends to work best, obviously, at close range. That's kind of the specialty of the German battleships. She also does pretty well at medium range. I do believe that she picked up the dispersion buffs for the German battleships that were introduced in 0811, excuse me. And so I think her accuracy is a little better. She had a reputation when she was first made available. I think this was during the 2018 holiday event, I think it was. And I think, again, part of the reason that she sort of gets this mixed reviews is that she has historically had sort of quite inaccurate guns, and also the guns are not the penetration is not as good as, obviously a lot of these higher caliber boats, but even among the 14-inch caliber ships like the Congo and the New York and so on, her guns just are not as punchy, certainly at mid and long range, than a lot of her peers. And so I think these are reasons that she kind of got mixed reviews. But her tankiness and her speed, she's very fast for a tier 6 battleship at 28 knots, and her reload is pretty good at 28 seconds. So she's a pretty capable ship. And again, I think for players that can learn her playstyle, she does pretty well. She does have like I said, a very good secondary complement, at least on paper. The accuracy isn't that great. However, because she gets the 1/4 penetration benefit on all of her secondary guns, means that when she does get secondary hits, she actually does real damage, as Ultima picks up his second kill there by taking down the New York, New York, and now he needs to turn, or at least the Texas, excuse me, it was a New York class ship. He now really needs to turn his attention to the Hatsuharu that's in front of him here. Secondaries are going off. He is going to get a couple of secondary hits, but he is really going to need to depend on his main battery to try to take down the destroyer. Now, looking at the overall tactical situation, the Allies are quite behind, almost 200 points. They're down one ship relative to the opponents, and they only hold one cap to the opponent's two. But this is still a winnable game. The Allies have a couple of destroyers that are a little bit far from the objective, in my opinion, are over on the east side. They should be trying to get more back to the cap. I also think that Ultima here has been sort of pulled away. Obviously, he wants to get the destroyer down. In fact, the Hatsuharu has just appeared here now that the smoke is dissipated. And I think getting the destroyer down at this point was crucial. So that is his third kill, and he's going to avoid this next set of torpedoes. But he's now discovered the aircraft carrier, and since the carrier is directly here in front of him, you might as well go after him. Plus, it looks like the Ranger is not moving at all. He's just treating this as a stationary, air platform, which is, or airplane platform, is generally not a good idea. He should have been moving already. And these 350 millimeter guns should be able to punch through pretty easily. In fact, he's firing high explosive here and getting HE Citadel hits. So looking at again, coming back to the tactical situation, the ship counts have evened up. The Allies have narrowed the point deficit a little bit because they did, Ultima did sink the destroyer, but they need to get back into a cap, I think. The opponents are actually quite strong at Bravo with 3 ships, but they are getting kind of surrounded by destroyers and the Graf Spee and a Congo, and it looks like the Allied New York can also fire into Bravo as Ultima is moving up here on the west side, looking to try to finish off this Ranger. His secondaries are getting some decent damage in, although with this angle he probably can't get too many secondaries firing on the carrier, mainly relying on his main battery to get the damage done on the carrier. So, oh, nice. The Graf Spee secondaries take down the Kirov. So that has, well, no, they have a one-ship advantage, but they still don't have the lead yet. Again, because they only have one cap to the opponent's 2, and at this point, Ultima should be able to get the Ranger down here pretty quickly. He's going to be able to get all 4 guns on the battleship, or I'm sorry, on the carrier. In fact, he lets his secondaries finish off the carrier, and that gets him close quarters, and he's up to 111,000 in damage. And in fact, there's also been another sinking of an opponent, the Pensacola, so that leaves this division trio of battleships, the 2 Ismails and the New Mexico, to deal with. And with Ultima being in the position that he is, he's going to be able to keep these guys in a crossfire, starting with this New Mexico, but he also can fire on the 2 Ismails as he's coming around the headland here to his east. Firing more high explosive here. Now, the 350 millimeter guns, like I said, are not quite as punchy as some of the bigger caliber guns out here, and even among the 14-inch. But I would think that firing into the superstructure with armor piercing would probably do pretty well against the New Mexico. In fact, he is now switched is switching to armor piercing as he's approaching the U.S. Navy battleship here. The Allies have moved into Bravo and are going to take that cap pretty fast. They've got 4 ships in there. Even if one of them is getting reset, or a couple of them, with the 2 destroyers in there presumably being concealed, they should be able to get that cap pretty quickly. In fact, they have gotten the point lead now, and so things are looking up. So, like I said, just need to focus on these 3 battleships. They're going to stay detected pretty much the whole time. They're not going to lose spotting on these guys. And the first salvo here, front guns AP on the New Mexico. New Mexico is starting to turn in, so he raises his guns a little bit. Yeah, it was kind of disappointing salvo. He does get through the torpedo protection, but not through the hull, and he gets one overpen, so that was a little disappointing. He's going to slow here, and he's backing up, keeping a very strong angled profile toward the New Mexico. He knows he's got at least 2 of these battleships that are targeting him. This Ismail is coming around flat broadside. I'm going to wait till he gets spotting on the battleship again, and his shells can clear. Shots out, and Citadel hit. Nice. And that is that's high caliber and Confederate. And let's see. Yeah, he's going to continue to stay well angled here. Again, he does not have he doesn't have a turtleback, but even if he did, he could take a pretty big wallop from these all these guns that are pointing at him right now. I'm going to fire on the Ismail again because the Ismail is providing a much better profile to fire on, and we get another Citadel, and that is his 4th kill. Now, one of his 4 turrets has been disabled. I'm going to come back online here in a few seconds. He's going to fire his rear 2 guns on the further Ismail, again giving full broadside here. See how that salvo goes. Well, again, this ship is not very accurate, but he only needed to get a couple shells on. There's another Citadel. That's his Kraken Unleashed, up to 170,000 in damage, and now he's just letting the secondaries work on the New Mexico, waiting for his front guns to reload. New Mexico isn't even targeting him. I'm not sure who the New Mexico is targeting. Oh, he was targeting the New York, which he was able to finish off, and he is now turning his guns to Ultima here. Ultima is pretty strongly angled. He should be able to weather this pretty well, full salvo. Yep, that was pretty good. That was well angled. That wasn't too bad. Well, might as well wrap up the game here because the New Mexico is the last ship, and he could get in his 6th kill if he wanted to here. So he's just going to go for the ram, which is a pretty classy way to end the battle in this case, I think. So very, very nicely done. So in 11 minutes, he does almost 185,000 in damage. Kraken Unleashed, high caliber, Confederate, and close quarters. Shoots down 18 planes. So over 2,000 base XP, which is very impressive for a tier 6 ship. So very well done, Ultima. Thank you very much for sending this over. This was a pleasure to watch and do the commentary on. I hope everybody did enjoy the replay and the commentary. Please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there on the virtual seas, and we wish you happy sailing.